Hi guys, this is my first YouTube video and I'll be showing you how I made a realistic banana cake. It's an absolute fun process and I thoroughly enjoyed making it. As you can see, I've traced a real banana onto my parchment paper and I'm now using that to cut the cake into the same shape. Here I'm using a plain vanilla sponge to keep it simple. You can use any cake of your liking. I now fill the cake using my Swiss meringue buttercream. But again, you can use either ganache or American buttercream. Anything that's sturdy will do. I use the same to crumb coat my cake and I will be letting it chill in the refrigerator for around 10-15 minutes. Meanwhile, I colored my fondant to match the banana peel and left it aside. I now take my chilled cake and using the real banana as a template, I start to shape the cake. This is a crucial process and you have to take it slow. You need to carve the cake small piece at a time rather than removing a whole chunk of it and ruining the shape. Since my sponge was very moist, it was slightly difficult to handle it. Guys, go slow. To give the cake a realistic feel, you need to gently round the edges of the bottom of the cake as well. You don't want the cake to sit flush on the cake board, which will give a fake feel to it. Take your time, go small, go gentle. I sure have taken my time doing this as I really wanted to perfect the way it looks even before the fondant went over it. And once I'm satisfied, I am going to give it a final coat with buttercream and I'll be leaving it in the refrigerator to chill. This time I let it chill for around half an hour to 45 minutes. There you go. Doesn't it already look like a banana even before the fondant? Once that's chilling, I'll roll my yellow color fondant. I use mainly Wilton Golden Yellow with a touch of green and brown to achieve the color. I take my chilled cake and I slowly take my time to drape the cake with my fondant, and I make sure I work ever so slowly, avoiding the tearing of the fondant. I take my time doing this. You should go slowly. You don't want any tears or cuts or fingernail prints on the fondant. Once I'm satisfied, I cut the excess fondant and again start smoothing it out to replicate the banana. You need the cake to be very chilled or else you will not be able to handle it like the way I am. And once I'm satisfied with that, I use my fingers alone. To smooth it, and I pinch the sides of the cake to make it seem more realistic. I'm just cutting off the excess on either ends of the cake. Trying to get it as close as the real banana. Make sure you keep the real banana close by so that you can keep viewing and doing the smoothing process. Now once I'm satisfied with that, I'll be using my trusty resident tool to make small indentations on the fondant, as you can see. There you go. What this does is that it gives a really natural finish to the cake once we have dusted it. As you can see, on a real cake there will be small indentations, probably nail marks or small holes as such. Try to replicate the same using this tool. Again, take your time, go random. You don't have to be very specific, because you know nature is not perfect. So you can go on and make random cuts and random shapes onto the cake. So now once I'm satisfied doing this, which I clearly am not, trying to get it as perfect as possible, this is the part where I actually struggle, the endings of it. Probably because the cake was very delicate and the weather was really hot at the place I live. Now, once I'm satisfied with all that, I move on to my very favorite part. This step is what gives the cake a lifelike feel to it. I'm using edible petal dusts in the shades brown and black, and I start going over the spots and the crevices that I've made on the cake. I've kept my real banana aside constantly so that it just makes your work more easier, because you can see and then try replicating it. Don't go overboard with the dusting. Always remember that less is more. So take your time, fill in the crevices and the Dresden tool markings that you've made. I've taken my time, I've tried to replicate it exactly, tried to be imperfect, go random. I've thoroughly enjoyed this process. I feel the dusting itself creates a whole holistic look to any fondant piece that you create. The best thing that you can do is you can layer on the edible petal dusts rather than just taking a whole chunk of it and spreading it all over the fondant. Layer it, which will give you a more realistic feel. What I suggest is you can first very keenly observe the real fruit that you're working with. It can either be a fruit or a vegetable that you want to replicate. Just you have to keenly observe it, gain an idea, and then you can go about doing your work. At this process, I also add a little bit of green, which is definitely a game changer as it brings out the life to the banana cake. Again, I take my time making sure I perfect it. The ending especially was a little tricky, but again, take your time, guys. You should never be in a hurry while making cakes, especially while decorating them. Go slow. There comes the green. It'll definitely give you this natural look to it. Don't go overboard with the colors. It has to be as subtle as possible, as realistic as possible. Yeah, there you go. Almost done. And I've taken my sweet own time to perfect it. Of course, it's very, very difficult to match nature. I've tried. See, this is why having your fruit beside you does really help, because you can keep checking, keep looking out, and matching it exactly. There you go. This is the final result. Now, since you've watched the video, I'm sure it's easy to identify the cake among these four. Now let's cut into the banana and check the beautiful cake insides. Also guys, excuse me for the faint lighting. Hopefully my next video will be of a better quality. There you go. My beautiful moist vanilla sponge inside the banana. Also guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Also, please follow my Facebook and Instagram handle, Artisan Cake Bites, for amazing bits and behind the scenes and exciting stuff. Thank you guys.